Well, after the dramatic fire that destroyed our Leopard 50 catamaran, it's time to start boat shopping all over again at the Annapolis Boat Show. This week, we review the Lagoon 46 and try and find out why they sold more than any other brand in the world. We discuss the Lagoon 45 bulkhead issue and have a tour of the brand new 46 design. Welcome back, and today we're doing another boat review, and today's boat review is the Lagoon 46.
The Lagoons have been the most successful catamaran builders in the world, and they continue to be way in front of all the other manufacturers. So whatever they're doing, they must be doing something right, and somebody must like their product. They have been going since 1984, so they are a long, well-established company, and they clearly have managed to survive over these decades. So we needed to find out really what it is that makes them so successful.
But we've also had friends that have bought Lagoons, so we've had the opportunity to go sailing on them and, experience things firsthand.
We were shown around the boat by Fred Signet from Lagoon, but he didn't want to be videoed, so I will do all the talking and I will try to remember and honor what he told us. He gave us over an hour of his time before the show started, so we had privacy and were able to look around the boat really well. So let's go for a look and see what the 46 is like.
So we're here this morning at the Lagoon stand, and we have an appointment with Fred that's going to take us for a tour around the Lagoon. So stick with us.
As you step onto the stern, you notice how wide the sterns are, and this makes for easy access and gives you lots of volume inside the hulls. The side decks are wide and flat, so very safe, and the hatches are all recessed with air vents that allow airflow into the boat without allowing water in. The seats on the bow for watching dolphins are comfortable, and the vertical windows of the saloon have the classic Lagoon appearance. The front cockpit area is not shaded but comfortable, and there is access to the cabin through a hatch situated centrally. The trampolines, that's one piece trampoline, and it's not divided by the anchor strut, and obviously you have a small bowsprit for your asymmetric spinnaker or foresail, code 0. So this is the bridle, pretty standard but very important for cats. And that is very heavy, strong chain, yeah.
What sort of anchors on there?
Delta, same as the Leopards. One of those nacelles or bulge on the bridge deck to break any waves, reduce the slamming. The steering station has access from both sides of the cockpit, and this is the only steering station. Controls are easily accessible, and all the lines lead to within reach of this position. Visibility of the port hull is good, with one step to the side while still holding on to the steering wheel, although on the starboard side you have to take an extra step sideways to see the stern, while you can see the side of the hull and the closeness of any pontoons or other boats directly down through the walkway. Visibility of both bows is very good while at the steering station. The flybridge is all covered with lounging cushions rather than couches, and the hardtop is optional, and this makes a really nice socializing area. So this is a lounging flybridge rather than a sitting socializing flybridge. You can see the zippers up here for the drop downs, and you want to have drop downs for weather or sun protection, and there are steps at the back for getting on the roof, and solar panels on the back, and of course non-slip on the roof, which gives you standing area to work the mainsail and put the mainsail away. So that is a good feature. So the main traveller system works in the traditional way, soft shackles with Dyneema And these traveller ropes lead to another one of those flat electric winches, which I must say they look really good and are very inconspicuous. So one of the features of the Lagoon 46 is that they've brought the mast quite a long way back to give you a bigger distance between the bow or the forestay and the mast. So your driving sails, which are your jib usually or your Genoa, has a bigger volume, and that should give you better performance. And they've also got a self-tacking jib, so that does make it a lot easier for tacking, especially if you're short-handed. Interesting features like this winch, which is used for the davits on the dinghy, electric winch which just goes up or down depending on which way, and the tail straight in, so you avoid the need for a large traditional winch. Stern of the boat, I noticed the hatch faces outwards, so if there's a following sea you do have some protection, so that's a nice feature. And here we have a Yanmar. So electrical board, fuses, batteries, spares, nice place for the spares to go, batteries down below, the filters reasonably easily accessible, nice areas to step on, flow coat on this engine compartment. There's also a watertight bulkhead in here which prevents water going into the main hulls and vice versa. And here's the steering. As you enter the saloon, you see how nicely fitted out and designed this boat really is. Plenty of storage, plenty of accommodation, a very functional galley, beautiful lights and curtains. Going down to the owner's cabin, you are met with, again, a lovely combination of double bed with easy access, lounge, desk, and very nicely fitted out ensuite. Again, lots of storage and good ventilation hatches both above and in the side windows. In the port hull there are 2 guest cabins, and each has their own ensuite, which are both very spacious. The beds are all walk-around island beds, allowing easy access and much easier bed making. We are in the aft cabin. I think that is one of the bulkheads in there. Looks like it's well glassed in. The fiberglass of the hull. Forward port guest berth. And the head shower. So when questioned about airtight voids and watertight bulkheads, it appears that Lagoons have a crash box in the bow to protect against bow damage, and 4 bulkheads, 2 in each bow and 2 in each stern, separating the engines and the bow sections from the rest of the boat. As I understand it, there are no airtight voids throughout the rest of the boat, and this does seem to be fairly standard for production cats.
So if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and the like button if you've liked the video, and the notification button because that shows you when the next video comes out. So the elephant in the room is the Lagoon 45 and the bulkhead issues. So I think I'll hand it over to you to talk about that.
Yeah, look, so obviously Colin from Parlay Revival had a hurricane damaged Lagoon 45 and found that their bulkhead had been cracked and giving way. Now, that led to a whole series of events where there was other 45s that found their bulkheads were cracked as well, and we did raise this with Fred in the discussion. And what's really important here is to put it in perspective. First of all, there have been no 45s that have ever had catastrophic failure as a result of the bulkhead problem. However, many that have had this cracking bulkhead have now been given the gear to fix it up from Lagoon. And it's also important to realize that there have been no other boats in the Lagoon fleet that have ever had this problem. So this was specific to the Lagoon 45s, and they are very adamant that there are no other issues with any of their other boats. And clearly these boats are sailing around the world. They have been doing it for decades, and clearly with the number of boats that they have out there on the sea and doing world circumnavigations, they are a sound and reliable boat. The other important thing to realize is that all the major brands have had issues with some of their individual designs at some points. Once you've produced enough different designs, there will be some boats that have problems. And this is not a unique thing to Lagoon, and that isn't something that Fred told us about. It's something that we heard about from other people in the industry that have been dealing with the major brands for the past few decades. So the most important thing is that the company puts in place the appropriate processes to fix the problem and move on from there, and then of course change the design for the future. So the Lagoon 46 is a completely new design, and this issue with Lagoon 45 really should be a thing of the past. If we want to talk about the Lagoon 46, the most important person to tell us what she thinks is obviously the boss.
Oh. Well, actually, you know, when you walk onto the Lagoon, you can see why it's one of the most highest selling boats there is on the market, because it really does have quite a luxury, quite a comfortable feel about it. So, you know, for a lot of people that maybe are sailing for the first time or a little bit concerned about leaving those creature comforts, you don't have to. The aesthetics is beautiful. So you walk in and it just feels like you're on a floating apartment. You know, it's like you've got a normal kitchen instead of a tiny little galley. The space in the cabins, it's voluminous. So you've got lots of space to swing a cat. Swing a cat. Lots of space. And there's lots of storage as well. I think it's easier to sell the dream to the woman when you provide all this comfort and you provide a functioning kitchen and all sorts of things. And also the bathrooms are nice and spacious. So the two important things that tend to be right up there with women are, you know, the bathrooms and the kitchens, or the head and the galley. So and they've catered for that.
So Lagoons also have specific interior designers that design the layout of the boat, which is exactly why the finish is so wonderful and nice looking.
This Lagoon does have a front cockpit, sort of, but it doesn't have the shade and, you know, the protection that we like, but it still does have a front cockpit, so that's a plus.
And it has a fly bridge, and I must say I was very impressed with the solid top on the fly bridge. So the solid top is much more durable, and if you're going long-term cruising, I'd certainly go for that option.
The back cockpit has got plenty of room, plenty of seating, and very comfortable, so invite your friends over and you can have a party there, and the problem is people might not want to leave.
The management of the lines and the electric winches on this boat is also very good. The lines all lead to the cockpit and they are very efficiently run. Obviously Lagoon know exactly how to set up boats for short-handed sailing, and that all is very impressive with those low profile electric winches. Of course, when you have a lot of space, what that means is that the hulls are usually going to be bigger and wider, which obviously has a negative effect on your performance. So this boat is clearly a boat that is much more angled at pure comfort and luxury and not on performance. And that is a characteristic of the Lagoons. These boats sail, and they sail safely around the world, but they do not sail fast. The boat will motor comfortably at 7 knots. It will sail at 6 to 8 or 9 knots and get up to 9 to 10 knots in an 18 to 20 knot wind on the beam. So if you have the wind from the right direction, you'll go 8 to 10 knots, and if you put up a screecher or a spinnaker, you can do 11 or 12 knots. Okay, so in terms of performance, this boat, because it's got a significant amount of weight, like the Leopards and the Fontaine Pajots, it will be a smooth ride through the water. The best performing angle for this boat is obviously beam reach or slightly off the wind, so 110, 120 degrees. But it doesn't perform upwind particularly well at all. The upwind figures that I've seen for the other Lagoons don't show figures above 50 degrees of true wind for sailing angles. This boat is 16 tons light displacement, which is relatively light compared to the other boats in the Lagoon field. So they have worked very hard with this boat to reduce the boat's weight, so it will perform a bit better. They've got a tall mast. It's about 76 feet high, so they have got a tall mast to give it the drive. They've obviously moved the mast back to gain extra performance as well. The draft is 4 feet 5 inches, and the width is 26 feet. So these are all similar kind of figures to the Leopards and the Fontaine Pajots in terms of overall numbers, but the thing that is significantly different with the Lagoons is the width of the hulls is significantly wider, which is what gives you the space and the amount of volume on board the boat. The other really interesting thing about these boats is that they are well priced. The price for the Lagoon 46 is in the region of $500,000 US basic model, so you can add a few $100,000 onto that by the time you add the necessary extras. So this is a very competitively priced boat, and that is really a feature of the Lagoons. They are competitively priced, they look luxurious. When you walk on them, they feel absolutely wonderful, and that is, I believe, why they sell so well.
John, what do you reckon about who would be the best person to buy?
So this is the Lagoon 46. Wonderful comfort inside, comfortable but slow sailing, particularly upwind, but manages fine for the usual trade winds and as a charter boat. And so this boat is for those people that want to do it in comfort and are not in any hurry. So you can live in comfort on these boats, on the 46s, for anybody that wants the comfort, wants the luxury, but isn't worried about sailing too fast.
And doesn't have to trim the sails all the time and pay too much attention to the performance.
The Lagoons will also be very forgiving for sail setting. It won't make a lot of difference. On the Cats you can have your wind sail angles slightly off and it will make very little difference. So great for first time sailors. It's comfortable, it's safe, and it's easy to sail.
Thanks very much to Fred and the team at Lagoon, because we really appreciate them giving us the time so we can do this review. So that's it for another week from the Barefoot Doctors Sailing. So love and health from the Barefoot Doctors.
All the best, guys. Bye.
Sunrise meets my skin. Even with my eyes still closed, I can feel it coming in. Golden.
If you have liked this episode, hit the like button, subscribe for free, and ding the dong so you don't miss your fix of the next exciting episode. Love and health from the Barefoot Doctors.
So the Leopard 46
The
is
Leopard?
Sorry. So
the elephant in the room is the Leopard 45.
No, Lagoon.
Okay,
guys, so after looking through the Leopard, the most important person...
That's about the fourth time he said leopard.
Lagoon, Leopard, you kind of... I'm so used to talking Leopard. So,